So, what's your name and what do you got?
Lewis. My name's Rob Lewis. I own Rob's Realistic Flies. We tie hyper-realistic flies that you can actually use that aren't going to have to take a loan out for or aren't going to cost you too much. Simple and easy. And really, really, really work.
Yeah, I was looking around at some of the flies, and I think, I haven't done it in a long time, but, there is an art to it. There's good flies and bad flies, even though some people may think the fish don't know the difference.
Oh, absolutely they do. They absolutely know the difference.
Yeah, I think they do.
It's just, it's a matter of evolving with what the fish want to eat and being there to see it. You know what I mean? Yeah, are you going to catch trout on a size 14 Adams? Probably, but how many fish are going to sny away from it? How many fish aren't? Whereas you make the subtlest change on an old traditional pattern can trigger the most ferocious results. Literally, by just changing some things on it, making it look either crippled, knocked down, the days, and being from the Catskills,
right.
the days of the traditional Catskill styled fly, at least for me, are over. And I was raised and reared in Roscoe, where it all started. And now I haven't tied an upright divided wing fly in probably 10, 15 years. Right. Whereas my livelihood tying production out of the Catskill area, that's all I ever did.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter of we need different materials. They're hip to it, these fish.
Well, the people wanted the wild trout. I was talking earlier, but wild trout is kind of like, used to be the goal. I guess it still is. And those fish are smart. They know what a real bug looks like and what a fake one looks like. I
lived all over this country from Missoula, Montana. I came back for the Delaware system. We don't stock trout. I'm on the upper west branch of the Delaware. It is literally the only blue ribbon trout fishery east of the Mississippi. There are more trout per square mile there than anywhere else, and we do not stock. So, you're catching a 21-inch brown trout that's not stocked is like catching a steelhead or a salmon. It's unbelievable. Whereas a stocked fish, pen-reared, kind of is hip to the game. Our fish up there are extremely tricky, and that's why...
They taste like chicken.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even eat them. You're lucky if you could put them in a net. We take our drift boats out to cover water. And these fish are going to work. They're not... There's a reason they get big. Yeah. And that's key to us up there. And the colors on them, and the biomass of insects and food that we have up there is unlike any other place I know of, legitimately. So you can almost not key so much on fishing. You can key on the bug hatch you want, from Hendricksons to blue quills to stenocrons to drakes to isonychias. Where else do you have 3 months of sulfurs?
Yeah.
You don't. Anywhere in this, not that I know of, we have 2 to 3 months of sulfurs from 10 o'clock till 4, baby, and it's snowing. It is legitimately snowing. And you just don't get that anywhere else. And as you move down our river system, the waters warm up more and more, and the diversity of insects grows. Where I'm at, we don't have a lot of caddisflies.
Right.
You go down to the main stem, it's almost primarily caddisflies.
Yeah.
And everything in between is what you want to make of it.
Right.
So you're not kind of stuck to one hatch while you're on this entire river in one place.
Right.
And that's really what separates where I'm at from any place else,
So you have a nice, must have a large selection of flies. If the way you're talking, it sounds like you got all different kinds of flies at different stages of their life, right?
We actually tie so much we give up on our boxes. I don't have time to sort and clean them. I just start fresh.
Right.
Like this is a fresh box from last year I'm showing you right here. And it's legit. It's literally, this one's clean. Come see me in May. It's not going to be so clean anymore. You know what I mean? That's the difference. And we use little smut flies. We're not so much, into the generic stuff. Does that work? Yeah, sure, it works. These will work better.
It takes time to go and talent to do a good fly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Look at the size of that.
Yeah.
I don't like fishing flies anything smaller than a 16, 14, and I don't need to.
Yeah.
Our bugs are big up there. It's a cold water fishery. In August, we're about 45 degrees, 50 degrees. That's ice cold water. You get hypothermia in that water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of other places are 80 to 70 and 80.
What for you is the most challenging sort of fly or the most fun fly to tie?
Probably the Klinkhammer family flies, just like this. I carry a lot, and they sit in the film. And it's basically one kind of pattern that you can adapt to just about every species that we have up there by just changing the color, the size, but the actual design and tying of the fly is the same on all of them. So I can buy 1,000 hooks, cut 1,000 posts, size 1,000 hackles, and all I gotta do is change the body color and the hook size, and now so I'm not constantly pulling different stuff out. You know, we all love to get Picasso-esque. You know, that's what January's for.
Well, I guess that's where the craftsmanship comes in, because you know, if a company was doing it, they'd just get the 10 most popular flies, and they wouldn't even bother with the other ones, whichever ones are profitable, right? And the whole industry would be just a mess.
You know, that's why people hire guys like me. You know, because they want to cut that learning curve out. And really, a lot of my anglers are fly tyers themselves. It's almost that sometimes they want to pick my brain on the float trip. And I'm like, no, there's 3 fish rising over there. And they're like, no, I want to talk about that technique that you use. And I'm like, well, give me I'll catch the fish for you, you know. But like a lot of my stuff in here, I mean, like, these are all my drakes.
Yeah.
Those are big. I mean, Matt, if you can't see that, you know what I mean? And they will eat the snot out of that fly.
And you have to know where to get all your materials.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the great part about the Catskills, is that, you know, all of the traditional, almost everything in this industry is based out of Roscoe, New York. Oh, yeah. You know, your Adams Gray is just muskrat fur. You know, I mean, why? Because my river is loaded with muskrats. That's why. You know, the Comparadons that Al Cayucci down the road for me designed this style fly. Well, that's because we have deer running everywhere up there. So, you know, it's kind of, that's mink flies and certain material, and we still keep with those proportions and those properties of the material. But with the way the industry and tying has come, with pre-treated synthetics.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, back in the old days, you had to have mink hair floats. It repels water. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So that's what they want to be, you know? So I hope that explains it to you.
Yeah, it's like... It's the old way of doing it's usually the best.
Yeah, but you know, like I was saying before about, you know, the slightest change on an old traditional pattern, ferocious results, you can adapt that. You know, like I use a lot more natural stuff because I want it to look and act like whatever it is. I'm not so much for the properties of it floats better, because I can get that color dyed in a synthetic that's been watershed treated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And make a production out of it. Whereas if I got to actually shave a beaver hide down, there's a lot of hair. It's a pain in the ass. You know,
right.
You understand what I mean?
So it's better though.
Right. But if I'm tying certain nymphs for a certain area that I know if I swing them, they're going to work, I want that undulating thorax. And what undulates better than a natural fly? So I'm still using that natural, but I'm not using it for what it was originally used for.
And so can people go to your website to buy the flies, and you have pictures of all the flies?
Most of them are in all fly shops all over the country. I'm a designer for the Pacific Fly Group out of Monrovia, California.
Okay.
They're one of the largest exporters, wholesale only. So you'll see my stone flies and all my bugs everywhere from California to New York. You know, I see them everywhere. Like when I'm back out in Montana, I see all my flies there.
Okay, so they don't buy them directly from your website, really. They could go any store. But you do have a website that's kind of talks about your product a little bit.
We're revamping. I'm an angler. I'm a pair of pants away from a caveman. You know, I got the youth to do that today. My job's to get out on the water, not answer websites and stuff. I mean, we'll be updating it again, you know, but we do a lot more float trips and stuff like that, so.
Well, I'll put a link anyway. Yeah. It's Rob's Realistic Materials, ROBSREALISTICSMATERIALS.com. But like you said, it's really what to know is to Rob's Realistics. That's what to know.
You can also go, you can look me up on Facebook, Rob Lewis. You know, Rob's Real. We're going to get that up and going in another week. Right. But, I mean, this is my 29th year now guiding, or 28th year. I lost track a long time ago. You know, it's not what I do, it's who I am, so.
I like the little display like this. I mean, there's a real art to it. It's kind of like it's nice to have just a display at home, too, of the ones you've made.
That's why I have an ex-wife.
Oh, no. Okay. Hey, great. Thanks a lot. It was great talking to you. You have a fantastic product. I mean, this is really nice. I can tell by looking.
Our behavior.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
All the time. Okay, bye-bye.
You're listening to the UnCommonCore podcast with your host Thomas Howell.
Okay, so I'm glad I found you. You're Orvis, and just from my perspective, Orvis is the brand. It's the most famous brand. It's like what Levi's is to pants. Okay, Orvis is to fly fishing. So maybe you could tell us just a little bit about the history. You had a catalog early on, and you have Orvis stores. Just a teeny bit about the history of what Orvis is.
Sure. I think we started 1856. Started as a small company. Yep. So it's been over 160 years in the fly fishing industry. We started with our click and pawl reels, and then our bamboo. So there was a good run for 100 years or so with our standard, rod and reel outfits. And then in the 60s, the Perkins purchased the company, and that kind of separated into
You were purchased by who?
the Perkins. So it's a family-run company. It was an Orvis company.
The Perkins family.
So the Perkins family purchased it. I don't know the exact history, but the 50s or 60s.
Right.
Right. And they transformed it from a basic catalog company into a worldwide name, opened retail stores, expanded the catalog, and changed the product. And that's where it turned groundbreaking and became Orvis as we know it today.
Well, what I used to tell people, even though it might not necessarily be true, is that I remember Sears used to have the catalog. They were the first. But you guys came up with this really, you weren't alive at that time, and I was probably, if I was alive, I was a baby, if I probably wasn't alive. But they had a catalog which is really cool because what I recall, and I don't know if it's a dream or what, but it was like a hand-drawn catalog. Yeah. You and Banana Republic, who were completely different. They used to be like an Outback thing. Sure, yeah. Used to have these very artistic hand-drawn catalogs of their gear, and it was just so cool. Even now, if they came out with it, it would be so cool. Sure. And so that was you guys. You did do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of gave us a culture and a style and a feel and kind of some history, and it's still kind of that same mantra. We're still a large catalog, or the majority of our business is still catalog and paper, but nowadays obviously it's going electronic with websites and retail.
Right. Well, you kind of like I was just kind of kidding about Levi's, but you kind of have that tradition. You guys do go back to the beginning. And so it's like if you're gonna get something and you don't know what to get, or you don't know, Orvis is always a good bet.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just history. It's just it's quality. It's passion, it's pride. We take pride in our products, and we take pride and we love our customers. So it's a relationship with our customers, and that's what kind of kept us going for 160 years is that, that interaction with the customers and that love for the customers and our product and the environment and what we do.
Right. There was a girl earlier I talked to who was a tour person who, and she said that she's a woman over there, that there's a 50-50 program to get more women into the craft. Because I'm looking around here, it's like 98%. There's a girl right there. It's 98% guys.
Right. Yes, exactly.
So you have a program for women.
Yeah, it's a new initiative that we're rolling out with it all, with all manufacturers in the industry. There's 20 plus companies that are taking part in the program, and the goal is, to bring equality to the fly fishing industry as far as product, marketing, initiatives, just making it an equal playing field.
What is this 50-50 thing? She said to ask you guys about it.
It's so pretty much it's just getting more women into the sport and involved with the industry.
And if they go to the Orvis website, can they find out more about it?
Yes, absolutely. Go to Orvis.com. I think it's /50-50 on the water. But either way, it's going to be on the main page.
Okay, because I don't know what you would actually do, but it's good to get. It would be good to get more women in it because I don't see why they wouldn't be in it.
Absolutely.
My sister, when I went out first learning to fly fish, I went with my sister, and she was. We were competitive about it a little bit, and that was what was fun about it. And I don't know why there's no more women in it. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole stigma with fly fishing over the years is it's an old boys club. It's the rich guy smoking a pipe with his wicker creel in a mountain, in some fancy resort in the middle of the mountains. But to be honest, fishing is just an outdoor activity, the same as hiking and backpacking and skiing and snowboarding. So why is it just this old boys club? That's my personal kind of look on it and take on it. And why do we exclude certain people, women?
Well, I did the organic. I did the Market Street, organic food thing. I did, and a lot of girls tend to be into that.
Yeah.
Organic food and healthy eating and the outdoors.
Yeah.
and then men don't like it. But the men like the outdoors and the fly fishing. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why there's this animosity between the two. They should really get together. I mean, makes perfect sense.
Why not? Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
So, okay, one quick thing, a couple of products that you got new for 2018, maybe a reel, and I don't know if whatever you've got that's good for 2018.
We have multiple new products out for our two big products that are going to jump out. There's our new Helios 3 rods. These are new products for 2018. These are our big flagship rods. It's the greatest rod.
Helios?
Helios 3, yes. Helios 3. It's our new rod coming out.
So what makes the Helios a better rod than? The rods. Somebody said that rods were like a kind of more personal, and I said it's like a musical instrument or something. But what are these? These are what's the material that they're made out of?
Graphite.
Okay, so these are the graphite rods.
Yes. So these are our new flagship. So they made them 70% stronger than the previous model, 40% lighter. So they're lighter, stronger, faster, and the big thing with the Helios 3 is that they're accurate. It's all about accuracy. All right. So in real-world fishing situations, when it comes down to fishing, accuracy is king. It's not how far you cast and how pretty you look. It's all about getting the fly in front of the fish's face at a good distance with a good presentation, and that's where this rod excels. So the way they designed it, I don't want to get too technical into the engineering of it, but the way they designed it is the graphite is tighter woven, and they use different resins and graphites to make it stiffer, and there's less oscillation in the tips, so the rods don't vibrate as much. So that takes the wiggles out of your cast, so it actually lines and lays straighter in a straight line.
The advantage of having a big company is you could check out all this science behind it, right?
There's a lot of engineering that goes into it. You think it's just a stick and a pole, but there's actually a lot of engineering and design that goes into it, and a lot of physics, and all that. In the bottom line, turns out a better product, a better fishing tool, more productive, more fish, more time in the water, more fun.
Yeah. So what else? What else you got for 2018?
So we have our new ultralight waders. So these are our new ultralights. We have men's and women's, and again, it's part of the 50-50 on the water initiative.
Ultralight waders.
Waders. Yep. So these are our wader pants. We have men's and women's, and these are the new ultralight series. So again, these are going to be about almost 70% lighter in material, but with more breathability, and obviously it's going to be waterproof.
Yeah, it looks super light. I mean,
it's a nice lightweight material. It's thinner, it's lighter, but the most important thing, it's breathable, more breathable.
It won't rip though, will it?
I mean, if you hit a chain link fence or barbed wire, sure, but yeah, it's going to have more abrasion resistant than the predecessor.
So it's not for a Navy SEAL, but it's for a fly fisherman.
It's for a fly fishing, yeah. Sliding your butt down into the river, walking through brush or sagebrush, thorn bushes, it's fine. Hopping over a barbed wire fence, probably not so fine. But yes.
So I guess it depends on where you actually do your fishing.
Exactly, yeah. It depends on where you're fishing. But the big thing about it is the breathability and the lightness. I think the total outfit, if you have the jacket with the waders and the boots, is less than 6 pounds. So in the fly fishing world, it's pretty significant. For years, boots were heavy, clunky, clumsy. Same with the waders, they're thick. Everyone has this thing with, hey, thicker, heavier waders are gonna be more waterproof. It's not, not.
Well, so these kind of like fold up. Is that what they do?
Yeah. So exactly. So they're you want the weight, the ultralightness for two things: travel, of course, right? So you pack them, and you want to go to Montana, you want to fly to Alaska. Obviously, you want lightweight for packability. Exactly. But you also want lightweight for wear. They are on suspenders on your shoulders. So if you have a lot of weight and a long day after fishing for 6-8 hours, it can wear on your shoulders and it's fatiguing. So again, it goes back to the rod. More time in the water equals more fish and equals more fun.
Things like that are pretty useful. I mean, you could bring more with you, and like you said, you have to lug it all around. It's pretty nifty looking too.
Yeah, it's sharp looking. It's got nice, vibrant colors that stands out, and it's also, neutral
It almost doesn't even look like a fly fishing guy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, if there was a Monopoly piece, he wouldn't look like this.
Exactly. You got that right. Exactly. Hey, it's the future. Yeah.
Are these popular? I mean, I'm not that much in the shoes, but I know people that are.
Sure.
And to me, it looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, are people into this thing?
Sure,
Are Orvis
absolutely.
a good brand for shoes?
Absolutely. Yeah. But so this is what you wear on top of this.
Right.
So it's still, in my opinion, I still look at it as a piece of equipment. It's still fishing equipment, but it's apparel as well. It's boots and pants.
You wear it on top of this thing,
Exactly. So I don't have,
like they do on the moon, like the moon guys.
that'll go on like that. So this gives you, the purpose of this is for traction, support, and safety. So when you're walking through a riverbed and there's big boulders, your feet will slide and crap, so you don't want to fall in the water, right? So you want traction and you want toe and heel protection. So it's actually, this is kind of like for safety, all right? And again, just like any boot, hiking boot, running shoe, you want light and strong.
Now, can you wear it because of the size is going to be different? Can you wear that without that and still have it fit?
Technically, no, because these are designed and cut.
It's made for your fly fishing. Yeah.
There are socks and specific socks you can wear that'll fill it out. We call it wet wading. So in the summertime, it's 90 degrees. You want to, you're fishing a 2-foot deep stream. You don't need waders, yeah, and you probably prefer to wet wade. So you'll have socks that with gravel guards built in that keep the stone and pebbles from going in, and then you can wear it as itself. It's not something I would wear around town or go hiking in because it's cut.
It looks like you could, though.
You could, yeah, exactly. So that's the fashionable part of it. The functional part of it is for waders on top of wading, or for wading, boots on top of waders.
What's the price of these boots? What's the price of these? I mean, something around there. And the rods also.
So the Helios rods are $849 for freshwater and $898 for saltwater. So
Okay, yeah, your high-end rods are always around $900, it seems.
yeah. I think the industry standard right now, you're pushing the $1,000 mark. There's a few manufacturers.
They want to keep it under $1,000, I guess.
I hope so. Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, there's a few right now that are.
Well, I guess the 1,000 might be a psychological. That's what Apple said. They marked their phone a little bit too high. Psychological. Yeah.
Yeah, that comma in there can throw you off, as a consumer.
What about these things, the waders?
The waders are $298, and the boots, don't quote me, I think they're $198. I have to check on the catalog, but about $300 and $200 for the boot.
You had I'm from San Francisco. You used to have an Orvis, if I recall correctly, and I'm daydreaming. You had an Orvis store right in downtown San Francisco, and I don't think it's there anymore. Do you have those stores around the country anymore?
Absolutely, yeah. We have over 70 retail stores throughout the country. Out west, I think there's a Northern California store, and there's Pasadena, and a few other ones. And then you have a few of the west. But out in the east, we have over 70.
There's one in Manhattan downtown somewhere, isn't there?
5th and 44th. So 5th Avenue, I think it's on 44th and 5th.
A lot of those, I think they are mostly they're mostly closed and stuff, right? Is that right? Or?
Yeah, so I'm from a retail store. I work in the Philadelphia retail store in Haverford, Pennsylvania. I'd say about 70% of your stock, 60, 70% is going to be clothing and the apparel. And then about 30% is going to be hard goods. And again, it depends on the store. The Manchester flagship store is going to have a full fly fishing shop. The Fifth Avenue store, larger.
Yeah, because the one in San Francisco was cool, but I don't know how many people actually bought things there. It was cool to walk around and look at the stuff. Yeah, that's probably why they closed it. They probably didn't sell that much, but it did have a wide variety of everything, and you could kind of it was just a cool store, yeah. And in New York here, I'm not sure what they have. I think, like I said, it's mostly clothing. But
actually, in New York, the Fifth Avenue, so they have an upstairs now, which is all fly fishing. So all your gear, all your waders, it'll be full functioning fly shop. They'll have everything you need there. Everything you see in the catalog will be at the Fifth Avenue store.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's something about walking out of a big city and then going into a store in a place that's filled around with fashion stuff, and all of a sudden there's the fly fishing stuff there, and it's it just makes you feel good that it's still there.
It makes you feel like you're in a small town fly shop. You hang out, bring your dog in.
Like we haven't completely lost everything.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah. Not yet. That's what we're trying not to lose. We're trying not to lose that feel.
Well, keep up with it, and it's a like I said, it's the brand, and your website is
Orvis.com.
okay, www.orvis.com. And your name one more time?
Andrew.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. It was great talking to you, and I'm really glad I was able to get hold of you. Keep up the good work. You're working for a great company.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
Fly fishing takes time. It's finding the right fur and feathers and the proper hook to tie a fly that approximates a real insect. It's the attention to detail, the background knowledge to make the right fly for the right location for the right fish. It's walking where the trail runs out, finding the right spot, wading in, and casting your fly with the weight of the line alone. It's a direct, complex relationship to nature and the world around us that we all had as children. It's not something you get from a computer or mass media. It requires thought, contemplation, and stillness. It's slow. Your relationship with it can't be forced by a movement, an argument, or a committee. Each person experiences it as an individual, alone. And whether you're near a stream or on a lake, in a reef or on a boat, the side of a mountain or the muck of a bog. To know the nature outside you, you must have nature inside you. And we all do, in all its nastiness and its beauty. It's as much a part of us as we are of it. And though we sometimes like to think of ourselves as machines, we're not. We're better than any machine ever created. It's nature from which we come and to nature in which we'll go. The sooner we destroy it, the sooner we destroy ourselves. But carry on with whatever it is you're doing. As for me, I'll be fishing.
Okay, so you are a painter. You're the painter?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm looking around, and I was hoping to find a painter. My dad paints, my sister's an artist, and there's something nice about this kind of nature painting. So tell me a little bit about who you are and what you're trying to do with your painting, and introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, well, my name is C.D. Clark, and sporting artist is how I classify myself. And what I do that's a little bit different than the other people painting hunting and fishing paintings is that I do a lot of plein air stuff in that I paint on location a lot. So I'm actually going to the places and doing a painting right there in the field.
You're not painting from a photograph, in other words.
Correct. So
you're not gritting it out and doing a process. You're looking at it with your eye and painting it.
Right. And at this point in my
so you
career,
have a canvas set up and your little paint thing.
Yep.
You have a limited amount of time because of the lighting.
Exactly. That's usually, you've got about, if you're lucky, maybe 3 hours of stable light where the light is similar. Once in a while, you can go back to the same place the next day at the same time, but because weather changes and stuff, you can't count on that. So most of them are done in one sitting. All of the smaller paintings here in the booth were done.
Well, the picture tells you it's in one kind of at one time in one place. So you kind of got to get it at the time, I guess, right?
Right. But my belief is that your eye captures things that a camera doesn't. A camera is an interpretation. It's the camera's interpretation of the scene, and so if you're painting in a studio from that photograph, it's sort of an interpretation of an interpretation. Whereas if I'm right there, it's my perception of what the scene is. And on top of that, because weather changes and light changes and stuff, there are things that happen during that 3 hours that I'm standing there that I would never even think of doing if I was just painting from a photograph that doesn't change. So there,
well, that makes a lot of sense. Our audience is not going to be thinking of a photograph and comparing it to a painting. They know the difference. But I was just, and a lot of people do that. My dad, I think, started doing it that way. It's a learning process. But once you learn, this is what you do. And what is your, looks like you've got different mediums that you use. Do you use different mediums, or is it?
Well, two mediums. I use watercolors and oils, and both in a pretty traditional way. I would say fairly impressionistic, although still very representational. I mean, all of the figures are pretty tight.
Yeah, it's different when you got it. You look like two different people, actually. I mean, to me, I don't know, you know.
You're right. So, and my career has evolved into a lot of travel. I mean, I do mostly commissions now, so I tell people that, you know, they ask me what I do. I kind of paint people's favorite places. So whether they actually own a salmon lodge somewhere or a quail plantation or whatever it is, a ranch in Montana, I'm actually going to that place and trying to capture not just a salmon river, but their salmon river, and their part of the river. So all of the paintings that you see are actual places, and, you know, this painting is Iceland, that painting is Canada.
Well,
they're all over Scotland, they're all over the place. So that's kind of what I do, is travel and paint.
Well, they look pretty good to me. The thing is, usually when you're looking at painting sometimes, I mean, you have something about when you're having the people in the photograph, there's something nostalgic that makes people human that they associate with. And that's different from a different painting that you have, which is more nature, which has a more of a kind of a feeling you get with nature that comes through that's more pure, and it's just completely different. So it's like two completely different directions that you were able to take your art, and that's why I think you're pretty good with it. I mean, from what I know. So, I mean, it's just, you know, is that what you're going for? I mean, you're just painting the pictures, but...
Right. Well, and you know, sometimes the scene dictates whether I want a figure in it or not. And I mean, there's really two parts to that. One is that sometimes the studies are done with the idea that I'm going to go back in the studio and do a larger version, which I will add figures to. So that's one thing that happens. But then sometimes there are scenes where they really don't need a figure. I mean, everything I would want to say about it is said by the landscape.
They're completely different than some of your other ones here.
Right.
I mean, it would be a different person buying the pictures is kind of, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah, that could be. But I mean, I've got to please myself before I please other people. Usually if I please myself, then other people are happy too. So that's kind of the way I go at it.
They're all very good. And how long have you been doing this?
Gosh, I majored in art in college, and I graduated from college in 1981. So.
And where are your? I mean, you have postcards and things like here, but are you mostly inside galleries, or is there one or two big galleries that you're in, or where can people find your art?
I have a couple galleries. I have a gallery down in Charleston, South Carolina, called the Audubon Gallery, right on King Street, and I have another gallery in Isla Mirada, Florida, in the Keys, called the Redbone Gallery. And then, as I said, I do a lot of commission work. I have a website, cdclark.com. There's an E on the end of Clark, so you can
so it's
do a bit of work on the web.
So it's www.cdclarke.com?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's nice to have somebody who's an artist in a lot of these different kinds of shows. I did a Reefapalooza, like I said, and there was one artist. Yeah. You know, there's a couple of them here, but I mean, you got, is this where you do most of your, do you come to a lot of the trade shows? If someone wants to meet you or see you in the thing, where do they do it? In the gallery, or do they have to stalk you?
They usually don't. They've got to stalk me. I mean, I used to do a lot of shows like this earlier in my career, but at this point, because I'm doing mostly commissions, you know, I do this show and I do one other show down in Georgia, and they're the only two. Other than once in a while, I have a one-man show, but other than that, it's.
Well, that's okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't go crazy and start, you know, painting something different. You're doing pretty good. You're pretty happy with this? I mean, you seem like you've had a career and a life behind you, and it seems like it's pretty good. Everything going okay?
Everything's fantastic. I mean, I'm very lucky because I've always loved to shoot and fish and be outdoors, and almost every minute of my life I'm either shooting, fishing, or painting, so I can't complain.
I think it's pretty good, and I'm really impressed by your paintings. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks.
You've got a couple of, well, okay, why don't you just tell me who you are and what you have here, first with the boats and then with maybe the reels?
Okay. My name is Steve Densley, and I'm with Maxxon Outfitters. And what we're showing today are two of our new boats. We've got the XPW 240, which is our still water, low profile craft. And we've also got the XPW 239, which is more of an open bottom raft type of a single person craft. So we've got a moving water craft and a still water craft.
Okay, now I've been in a couple of things like this. I don't know what the difference is though, but can you put a motor on that one? This one?
Yeah, the 240, our still water craft, comes with a motor mount for a small electric, like about a 30-pound thrust is all you really need. And it can be set up with. The boat comes with oars, so you've got oars, and then you also will use your kick fins with it. So there's different ways to control this and propel it, but it is set up to accept an electric motor.
And this is one person?
Yes, they're both single
both
craft.
one person.
Uh-huh.
This would be mostly lakes?
Yeah, lakes, reservoirs, ponds. The interesting thing about this boat and what we designed in this is a very low profile. So you notice the thickness of the boat's only about 6 inches. So it drafts very little water, but there's large surface area that it covers, so it's extremely stable. And being such a low profile, it's not affected by the wind. It doesn't catch the side of the body and catch your boat and turn it. So it's much more manageable in wind than what a higher profile boat or even like our 239 would be.
Yeah, I guess it's for different conditions. So this one that we're looking at here, which of course the listeners can't tell, but it's lower. It's got a little seat on it. It doesn't have the inflatable. I mean, I guess it's not inflatable. It is inflatable, but it doesn't have the round inner tube look that the other one has.
Right. It's
and
kind
so
of a flat, thin design, single chamber. It's made out of 1100 denier drop stitch PVC. So if you feel it, it feels like it's a solid.
it looks more heavy duty. It looks more Navy SEAL-ish.
It's very tough.
Well, what's the difference? I mean, someone would use the inner tubey one for what? What would be the one that you would use this for, one you would use that for?
The 239 here, the round one, you would use more for rivers, streams, and things like
makes
that.
sense. Yeah, I guess that's obvious. Okay. Yeah. All right.
It's not set up to accept a motor. We don't have a motor mount on it.
Right. It's more of a whitewater-ish or light whitewater,
Exactly,
I guess.
exactly.
Yeah. And how do you? What about the weight on them? What's the weight?
The weight on the 239 is 35 pounds.
Which is the inner tubey one, right?
Right. And then the flat still watercraft, the 240, is just under 50 pounds.
How much is this?
50. Just under 50. 48 pounds.
Wow. So you could actually walk that up with your
Absolutely, yeah.
with your donkey or whatever.
Yeah, you can let the air out of this thing and fold it up and throw it in the back of a car.
Yeah.
So neither one of our boats are framed, and that's by design. We wanted to make it simple to transport and easy to set up. And so they're both inflatable, 2 chambers on the 239, 1 big chamber on the 240. And
where can people see these? Do you have a YouTube page or do you have a movie or something where these are featured?
We've got a website, which is www.maxxonoutfitters.com. And our full catalog can be viewed on the page. And we've also got some video on the boats, so they can check us out there.
So it's www.maxxon.com.
Right. Maxxon Outfitters.
Well, it seems like one of those things like, what is that, where you see like out in the, nature guys like David Attenborough, he's, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of him in his Toyota Discovery or whatever it is, which is the real thing, so it'd be nice. These look like the real thing. And I was just wondering if there's any programs or something like that where people are using these,
Well, it's a fairly new, for us, it's fairly new. It's been out about a year, and that's after about a year of doing some trials. And so, we're getting, we primarily deal through a dealer distribution. But, if we don't have a dealer in your area, then you can contact Maxxon from the webpage, and, we can drop ship them a boat.
Right. What's the price?
Right now, this is $13.99 retail, but we're doing a show special.
Which is the short one, and you call it, that's the one that takes the motor.
Right.
$13.99.
Is regular retail, and like I say, we're doing doing a show special here on both boats. So trying to get a little incentive. And
Well, they got to come to the show. People listening are at the show. What's the price of this?
retail on this is $7.99.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's not much more than just a regular.
No, and actually, if you compare something that's comparable in design, we're about half price of what the going market is.
Yeah, the regular, just the boats that are like this are almost that price.
Right, right. That's a good price. And, the workmanship, the material is all top notch. We've got a unique grommet system design that allows you to customize it how you like as far as tying gear down and attachments and accessories. So it's a very, very nice, clean, easy to transport, light to haul, and very affordable.
Can you remove these oars if you need to?
Yeah, absolutely. You just take the cap off of there, and they come off for storage. It's a two-piece oar, so it breaks down in the storage bag. Everything folds up into a backpack bag on this, so it's easy to store and easy to haul.
Okay, very good. And we have one more thing, SDX reels.
We've got some new reels out this year. These are brand new, right off of the trials. We have two reels, the SDX, which is a sealed drag, dual friction discs, 3-bearing, heavy-duty frame, great for salt water. And we also have the MAX, which is a lightweight, 3-bearing, not sealed drag. We've got this one that retails for $200, the SDX. The MAX, which is the little lighter frame.
Yeah, it's all dark black.
Matte black finish.
Matte black, yeah.
And kind of a skeletonized frame, so it's very lightweight, very well balanced.
Very smooth.
Yeah. So this one retails for $100.
Not bad, $100. There you go.
Yeah, this is a killer. This is so far this.
What model number is that again?
This is the MAX, and we make 4 sizes: a 3/4, a 5/6, a 7/8, and a 9/10 in both reels. So in both models, we have the 4 sizes. We're excited about it. I mean, we've done 3 new items. We did the 2 reels, the SDX and the MAX, and then we came out with a new series of rod. For us, it's kind of an upgrade in rod. Let me show you this.
Okay,
this is our Aurelia series.
And what is that made out of?
This is a 57 millionths modulus graphite, and it's a moderate fast action. It's a very smooth rod. This is a rod that's not super stiff. It's very easy to cast. You notice that matches up beautifully with the SDX reel.
It kind of looks classic.
It's beautiful.
Looks like an old-fashioned rod.
But you notice, Lo, the color, we've got kind of an emerald green color with
Yeah,
yellow
it's
wraps.
nice.
And when it changes the light direction, it turns to a bronze.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just
That's
beautiful.
kinda cool.
But it's a very smooth, got a lot of power in it, but it's got a softer tip to protect those light tippets. So it's a very versatile rod. It's not designed for any one thing. It's a good all around for dry fly.
What's the model number on that?
We have an 8.5 foot 4-weight, a 9 foot 5, a 9 foot 6 weight, a 9 foot 7 weight, and a 9 foot 8 weight. And we're looking, if we get some demand and whatnot, we can add some heavier series. We're possibly looking at maybe adding a Euro nymphing rod, a 10.5 foot, 3-weight, 4-weight, something like that. So we may expand this line to see how it goes. These rods retail for $230. So it's a very rich looking rod at a price that's a quarter of.
So you can get into, you could get into a system with the reel and the rod for under $400, it sounds like.
On that series, absolutely, yeah. We've got combos that start at, anywhere from $100 and go up.
Well, I don't know if it really applies with rods and reels, but it's kind of nice in general to get get as much as you can from one company that's integrated the things together so that they work well together. Doesn't apply for everything, but
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, what we've done with our combos is that we've built them from scratch.
Yeah.
A lot of combos out there, sometimes they'll throw in a slow-moving item to help clean up their warehouse. We designed our combos from the get-go to match the rod and the reel and the line, get the very best quality for the price and make sure it balances and matches with each other.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you get these big, huge companies. Sometimes they just do it as a marketing because it's easy. But then you get the companies that care about it, and sometimes they do exactly like you said. They match things together, and then you're getting a good deal. Okay, that's great. So is there anything else for 2018 real quick? I mean, that sounds like that's enough.
Yeah, we're working on some more projects, and as we find products and as we get input from our customers and our dealers that tell us what they have a need for, we go to work and try to design those items that fit their needs.
These the boats are cool, and how long you said you've been making those? Those are fairly new, huh?
Well, these two models are brand new. Yeah, they've been out for about a year. Maxxon Outfitters is a division of Evergoing, and they do whitewater rafts for the last 25, 30 years. So we've been in the boat business for a long time, but the single-person craft for fishing, these are new designs.
Well, it was great talking to you. What's your name one more time?
Steve Densley.
Okay, great talking to you. It's a good product, and good luck with it.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
Every year, millions of tons of plastic pollute the environment. It's estimated that approximately 5 trillion pieces of plastic currently litter our oceans. Trapped in circulating currents, the plastic breaks down into microplastics and are often mistaken as food by fish, birds, and other sea creatures. A nonprofit called the Ocean Cleanup has developed the world's first feasible method to clean the ocean of this pollutant. It utilizes currents to passively drift a system that will clean up half the Great Pacific Garbage Patch between California and Hawaii in 5 years' time. With the environmental impact assessment now complete, System 1, as it's called, is ready to launch from the San Francisco Bay September 8, 2018. You can witness this historic event in person or online. For more information, go to theoceancleanup.com. That's theoceancleanup.com.
So I'm walking around the fly fishing show, and you're the only boat at the fly fishing show. So where are all the other boats? I mean, there's a boat show that I didn't go to, and where's all the other boats? You guys are here, so you guys seem to be the boat for fly fishermen.
Well, if you look around, there are a lot of other boats.
But they're little dinky boats.
They're for specific purposes.
Okay.
And some folks take the boat we build, put one of these on it, drive 20 miles to where they want to sneak up on some fish real quietly. And so they'll take the little boat and drop it overboard and row in and fish. And what you'll find is that the folks that are in this show are very passionate about what they do.
Oh yeah.
They're passionate about their rod, they're passionate about their flies, and they tie their own flies and they rig their own reels. And every human being needs a passion of some kind. Your passion is podcasting. You make a living doing something else, but you love doing this. Well, these folks love to fish, and it's like with anything you have a passion on, the most enjoyable part is the getting ready. If you're a duck hunter...
The getting ready, the process?
The process. if you're a duck hunter, which I am also, the most fun is building your boat, painting your boat, painting your decoys, getting the blind ready, meeting with your buddies and telling lies, and 10%'s the actual hunt, because a lot of times you're not successful. The same is true with fishing. You go a lot to get that one memory or that two memories. You might go 20 times to get that magic day like you see on the screen here, that picture. And all the other days it's spitting rain and cloudy and nasty and the wind's blowing and you're cold and the fish aren't biting. So, you know, a lot of it is the preparation.
Yeah, I guess when you were saying that, just to interrupt you for a second, though, my memories of fly fishing and fishing as an early child is it's not what people might think. It's not going out there and actually catching the fish and doing the fish. It's waking up in the morning that you would normally never be up. It's dragging yourself down there. It's getting into the clothes. It's the labor and the process that you think back on, and that's what you remember.
I call it making memories, and that's what I tell all my customers to do is make memories, because when you get to where you can't go anymore, you got good memories. You can sit there and have your cocktail or whatever and watch the sunset and remember the time that Joe did something crazy, or you caught that monster fish, or that brand new fly you made worked, or that new reel worked, or the boat did something fabulous. So you're making memories.
People these days, they're sitting, when they get old, I wonder, and they're sitting next to their walker, and what are they going to think about? They're going to think about a computer screen? I mean, what are they going to think about? They're going to think about their iPhones? I mean...
When you get old and wore out, you can still tie a fly, and you can still cast a little bit. And one of the best examples of that is a guy named Lefty Cray, who I don't think he's here this year. But up until last year, he was teaching people how to fly fish, and he's been doing it all his life. And he must be in his 90s, and he can still cast to that main lobby sign. Yeah, when you're in a boat with Lefty Cray.
Lefty Cray, okay, that's easy to remember.
Yeah, and when you're in a boat with him and he's got a rod, you don't pick one up because you're just going to be embarrassed. We're kind of into custom business. Our folks need a simple boat, clean boat, nothing to snag their fly line on. And so we're selling
Nothing to snag their
fly line on. If you look,
I like the way it looked, but I didn't realize there was a lot of thought that went into that.
Very clean. A lot of these boats sit on moorings in Massachusetts, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, along the Connecticut shore, Rhode Island. They'll sit on moorings. So we make the bilge very dry. Because they may sit out there 2 weeks at a time while the owner is working in Boston or Philadelphia or wherever. Right. And when he goes back, he kind of likes to see that his boat's still floating. And so the boat's going to also get salty and beat up and rained on and bird dew on it. So it's got to be easy to maintain and keep clean. And so we focus on the market of the passionate fisherman. And so
well, it's obvious, like I said. I mean, you're the main, even though you said there's other boats out here, you're the only one with a beautiful boat, white boat like this that you could take out there and get to where you're going. Yep. From A to B.
We make a boat. These guys fish in the rivers. They fish along the shore, they fish in a foot of water, or they might run 20 miles to Nantucket or the Monomoy
so you
Flats.
design the boat for all that.
For all that. Our customers also tend to be very environmentally friendly, so they want good fuel economy and nice clean for the environment, and so we kind of build to that, right. And we feel the same way, so, that's what we do.
Well, you should. I mean, people think that just because, the sportsmen out there, they care about the environment. I mean, the environment is the whole point,
That is correct. In other words, if you destroy the environment the fish live in, and you destroy the bait, and you destroy the place the bait lives, then you destroy the fishery. And so these guys work, I'm not sure where you're from.
Well, I grew up in San Francisco. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they got pollution problems there too, just like they did in Hudson River and Raritan Bay. But now New York is going to the trouble to rebuild the oyster beds in Raritan Bay and up the Hudson River. And I don't know that I want to eat one of those oysters, but eventually...
Well, they're trying to bring the old environment back. Whales used to come through here.
Right.
Yeah.
Those oysters will eventually clean up the water.
Yeah.
And same thing they're doing in Chesapeake Bay, same thing they're doing where we live in North Carolina. And we got the whales now.
Yeah.
They come down in winter in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's not going to happen on its own, but you just needs a little push. Nature sometimes just needs a little bit of help, just a little push.
Well, it doesn't need help. It does it all by itself. What we got to do is stop the poison, and once you stop the poison, it'll take care of itself.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of fishing? I'm just curious.
Favorite kind of fishing is inshore fishing, along the beach and up the creeks and rivers, and that's kind of what these guys do. And then
okay? That's great. What's the size of this boat? It's that we're looking at. What's it called, and what's the size? Just so they're looking up, they know what we're talking about.
It's a 23-foot Jones Brothers Cape Fisherman.
Okay. And this will go up the rivers.
It'll go up the rivers. It'll float in a foot of water.
Foot of water.
It's good on fuel. It can take the chop in the summertime, 2 or 3 foot chop. It's got a lot of V in front. Extremely good on fuel, and so you don't burn a lot of gas every day. You can go out on 5 gallons. And
it comes configured the way it is, or do you kind of choose different configurations, or you put it together yourself, or how's it work?
Our type of customers pretty much choose what they want.
Okay, so they can configure it kind of themselves.
They can configure it like they want it. Yep. Some of them want live wells, some of them don't. Some of them want smaller motors, some of them want bigger motors, some of them want the console moved, some of them want T-tops. You know.
It looks fantastic. But I'm curious, are there different colors that it comes in and different finishes and stuff like that, or not?
Yes, sir. Pretty much any color of the rainbow.
Okay.
A few years ago, we matched a guy's.
Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me it's some kind of rainbow thing.
No, 76 Jaguar.
Oh.
We matched it.
Oh, okay.
So,
that's cool.
you know, whatever. So you can, whatever you want, we can do it. We'll have some guys. Most of our customers, this is their primary boat, but we have a few customers that have much larger boats, but when they go striper fishing, they'll use this boat, or albacore fishing or cod fishing, they'll use this boat because it's easier to handle, it's easier to get in and out of the water, flounder fishing, that kind of thing. And
you sell the rig also with it? The
trailer.
The trailer? Yeah.
Yes, some people want a trailer, some people don't. But we have some customers that have really big boats, 65-footers and 85-footers, and they might want this to match the same color as that boat. Well, we can do it. You know, or they might want it to match their pickup.
So when you go fishing, you go, what part of the country do you like to fish in? Just curious.
Where we live, North Carolina. We live on the coast of North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, beautiful area there. All right, well, that's fantastic. One more quick thing, I took a lot of your time up, but it's a pleasure to talk to you. 2018, for your company, Jones Brothers Marine, Morehead City, North Carolina, is anything new for 2018, like this year? Do you guys do that, like do something new every year or something like that?
Not so much like the car companies do.
Yeah.
Again, we're kind of in the custom boat business. And we make running changes when there's a.
Well, most good high-end, top-notch companies don't do that every year. They come out with something that's going to, every 10, 15 years they'll come out with something new. I mean, that's good.
About every 5 years, what we do, we build our own molds, and then we make. Everything about this boat we make ourselves.
It looks like a Ferrari of a boat. I mean, it's nice.
Thank you, sir. But to build a mold takes a lot of thought and a lot of time, and particularly a lot of expense. And so, if we make a change, you're going to spend. I'm not going to say how much, but a lot. And so you want to think through it. What we do is kind of keep a list of what customers say. Right. What the guides say. Man, I wish you could do X.
You listen to your customers.
And then over a period of time, you come up with something mocked up and you let them see it and say, yeah, let's try that. and then we build it. So
Yeah, because that's who you're doing it to meet a purpose.
Basically, rather than coming up with something that I personally like and then trying to sell it to you.
Yeah, which that's okay too.
Yeah, that's the way the world works mostly. Yeah. But what we're doing more is listening to what they want and adding that into the mix.
Right. So it's Jones Brothers Marine. What's your website? You have a website they could check everything out? What's the website?
Jones Brothers Marine.
So it's JONESBROTHERSMARINE.com?
Correct.
Okay, great. And so what are the price ranges from, like, if somebody wanted to get a boat like this for fishing, I know the price is like you can afford it or you can't afford it, but if somebody's like saving up for it, this is what I want to do. What do they have to look for?
The website is interactive. You can actually go in there and spec out a boat with the options you want. Basically, the boat comes with a hull and a console, and after that you add whatever options you want. And our website allows you to actually price the boat out. It discounts it, but you're going to be, depending on how you spec it out, 50 to 75.
Yeah, well, it's not like an airplane or something like that. You're not going to have to, sell everything you own or anything. Okay, well, it's a beautiful looking product, and I think it's like I said, you got a couple other guys down here that got some littler boats, but you got the big high-end jewel in the crown of the fly fishing show. So I just wanted to say cheers.
Well, thank you, sir.
And if people, this is the dream, right? People want to.
That is a dream. That's
Right.
right. And we build, our customers will typically buy this boat and keep it 25 years.
Yeah.
So we're not selling a boat that they're going to say, hey, there's a new color I want to trade in 3 years. This is a boat they say, hey, that's what I've been looking
They're
for.
buying it for themselves.
We put it together like they wanted and they keep it. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. It was
Thank
a
you,
pleasure
sir.
talking to you. Name one more time?
Donnie Jones.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for taking the time.
Well, that's it for the Fly Fishing Show. Up next, the International Auto Show. It takes time and costs money to put on this podcast. If you'd like to help, there are 3 ways to do so. You can buy some merchandise at hugthepug.com or be our first patron at www.patreon.com/UCC podcast. That's patreon.com/UCC podcast. Alternatively, you can advertise at advertisecast.com/1306. That's www.advertisecast.com/1306. If you missed any of that, you can find it on our webpage at www.uncommoncorepodcast.com or www.uccpodcast.com. Don't forget our YouTube channel at UnCommonCore Video, where you can see videos from the people we interviewed. You can also try our Radio Public app. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The email address is uncommoncorepodcast@yahoo.com.
You've been listening to the Uncommon Core podcast with Thomas Howell. I'm Satoko Smith. Thank you for listening.